Good morning, everyone, because that's what it will be by the time this gets uploaded. Um, just a few things to put out. A reminder that ULTY will be paying about a 9 days worth of distribution, and that should be announced at 8:30 tomorrow morning or around about 8:30, either in your email if you sign up for the Yieldmax emails, on Twitter, and there's a website, I think it's Global Wire, but it's the place that they normally have their news posted. So that will be there in the morning. And then just some notes from the interview from Jay tonight. I did not get to finish it because I had to have family time, but the notes that I did get, he did make a statement that if they could get 60 to 65% of their trades winners, then he would be happy with that. So just, keep that in mind. Again, we know this, but sometimes we forget that things happen, but we can't always have winners. But he's looking at, 60 to 65%. Of course, y'all know this if you've been watching my videos, but of course, he stated that there are more trades in the ULTY ETF than there are combined of all the other Yieldmax tickers. So, put that out. Let's see. I mentioned this in the YMAX thing, but just so I don't forget, he was being asked about the 0.29% for the YMAG and YMAX, but then he went into talking about the fees and how that works. And basically, he says they just take out a little bit each day. So if there were I didn't look up, but if there's 250 trading days in the year, then it would be something similar to 1/25th. Of course, you don't know all the earnings to know those percentages for the year, but he said they take out a little bit every day. I know it last month when we did the YMAG and YMAX estimate, that was the missing key to our estimates, was including that in there. So I don't know. We'll see this month how that goes. Oh, he did make a comment. We always joke about, the Tesla fund manager, like there's just one person that just does that or whatever. He did say that there is one, he does have one employee that person's job is just to take care of ULTY. So, thought that was interesting. Yeah, and then the rest of this was the other thing. And then just to let you know that I know yesterday we did not have the trades, but but we did go over the changes, and we didn't. I'm not going to go over them now, but I do have the numbers that I'm going to show you on the all trades. I'm trying to figure out what it was. So this is a summary of the trades that happened yesterday, just for your reference. So you can see we had, there are lots of trades, you see. I'm not going to name each and every one of these. I know you don't want me to either. But let's see. We have coin at 105K. We had MNNMD. I think it was MindMed. I'd have to look that back up. I don't have that on here, but that was 117,750, and then we had B Riley with 182,000, and those are all the ones that were over 100,000. So we had some good trades there. And then if we look, we didn't have a lot of losses here. Well, you can say Carvana is like a negative 17K, MSOS negative 13K, MicroStrategy, which for that one, negative 19K isn't bad. But overall, the grand total of the trades for yesterday was $803,000. So those have been added to our trades and made a significant difference in the dollar amount as far as, what's happened this month. These last 9 days. I can't believe they're doing a distribution. This will be like the first one. It's That's amazing. Let's see. I'm trying to go to the trades. So anyway, I wanted to go over that from yesterday, go from some of the notes from the interview, and then just to go through, this is for fun and entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. In fact, I've told you many times I don't know a lot about options, though I'm learning, but I do know how to pull and manipulate data, right? So I've got all kinds of codes built through the workbook, but again, anything can happen to formulas, anything can happen to uploads of data, anything can happen in the downloads and converting of that data. So just take this, for what it is, and just, it's not going to be, nothing's ever going to be 100% accurate. There's always too many moving factors, but this will give you a good idea. But again, it's not financial advice. But we will move on here. I think I mentioned this last night. If not, it may have been in the other video. I've tried to make some of these columns a little smaller. But what we will do is I will not read. I'm only going to read off the positions that were closed. Otherwise, we will just look at how much money was made, and then we will talk about adding or the new positions on the other tab. So if you can see here, if I'm looking in this column right here, all of these are opening positions and none of these are closing out of them. So I'm not even going to read over them. However, and I know that I am a little bit zoomed out here for you, but that's so I can capture the entire thing. So if you want to take a screenshot, you can take a screenshot of this. I'll do one more. And then you could probably get 3 screenshots there and get all of those in. But just to go over the, since we didn't have any that were closed out. Oh, and then and don't forget, because this was a new thing for column J and K, I thought I had those headers colored differently, but J was, of course, we have I as the strike price, J as the close price as of today, and then, of course, K is the difference between our stock price and the strike price. So you could get an idea. I mean, you really can't say if it was truly in or out of the money, because we don't know when they made the trades and the closing price and how it fluctuated throughout the day. But there's the difference also if you wanted to look at those. I forget to point that out sometimes, since I don't read every line, right? Because then we'd be here all night, and we know nobody wants that. So just to go through these trades on the side, we have a firm there with a plus 3K, ARM plus 7K, Chewy negative 4K, Clean Spark plus 24.5K, Coin 7.5K, Carvana negative 500, Giga Cloud Technology negative 10K, Groupon negative 600, the biotech ETF LabU 30,580. These are starting to look pretty good. We have Mara with a plus almost 55,000, the pharmaceutical company at 1,000, the MNMD. I'll have to look at that one again, but that's a plus 21,000. That MicroStrategy just really, it does not seem to be working out for us. This one shows a negative 47,000. Then we have Nano Image plus 13K, B Riley plus 11 or 12K, Riot plus 23.5, Root minus 6K, and SNDX. I think that was pharmaceutical because it has an X on the end of it. That was negative 14K. Okay, so that's all I'm going to read here. Hopefully y'all were able to get some screenshots if you wanted to go back and review this. If not, that's okay too. We're going to review them when we look at the holdings, because we're waiting until the evening time to make sure we can get our holdings and review those. And then the tickers up there, I did not go back and count, I'm not going to do it now. I didn't go back and count, but it's somewhere around 20. For some reason, some days the formula works right and sometimes it doesn't, which is why I had it red to check it, but I had so many changes going on, I forgot to check it. And then just a reminder here at the top. So that K2 where it says total trades. So that's the amount of money that we have recorded as them bringing in. We did end up getting the data from yesterday, so that fixed one day. However, we did not have the trades from February 29th because there was an error with those being uploaded. So we are missing those. And then what I did do, well, I can talk about it later. It doesn't matter for these purposes. But this is total trade. So this is all the short calls and the synthetics here. And then, of course, the per share dollar amount. But do not use this data to say that this is how much we're going to, distribution we're going to have. Because, again, this is our synthetic and our short call. And if I believe I'm stating this correctly, and that they like to pay out the short call income. I could change this at the top if you want me just to show the short come income. I could do that as well. Either way, it doesn't matter. I don't even think anybody has said anything about that being up there. Another thing that I did, no, we'll go over it when I look at the summary tab, and we'll just move on here. So here, all of the short calls expire this week, and all of our synthetics will expire April 19th. Okay. I know we have a few new people here, so I'm hoping you're able to follow along with this. I've tried to dumb this down for myself because, again, I'm not an options person. But, I've tried to put, spell out codes and stuff. Obviously, I didn't hear for the call put on this tab, but I did it on the other. But, yeah, I think the other one's the worst tab to look at. But anyway, you're going to see here on multiple short calls for these. It looks like they're doing it different strike prices every day based on the activity throughout the day. So that's always good. They're synthetic, so they're keeping the same synthetics there. So if we look here, we have for a firm, and then I'll open it up and look at those other companies. But for a firm, we have 2 short calls, and we have strike prices of $39. Well, we'll start with the first one, $39. And you can see over here on the right, this is a new one. So this was on the trades tab. And today's stock price closed at $37.52. So the difference between the strike price and the close price are these two difference columns. So you have the dollar amount here, and then you have a percentage amount here, however you want to look at it. To me, I think it's a little easier with the percentages, but sometimes, it's like this one's 3%, but it's 50 cents. So it just depends on how you want to look at the data. But for that one, that first short call, we are 4% away from the strike price. And then you can see over on the right, just for reference, I'll go ahead and mention it, which, yesterday's close was 37.21, so we were up 1% there. But if we look at the second short call here, it has a strike price of $42.50, and so we're 13% from that strike price. And then we have our synthetics, which I'm not going to talk about unless we are in the red. But for those of you that don't know, for our synthetic, we want the stock price to be above the synthetic, but we want it to be below the short call. So we want it to be right there in the middle. And if I forget to mention it over on the right, again, the lines that have the yellow with new, those are brand new positions opened up on the trades tab, and the one that says added, that just means they added to the synthetic. So in the case of a firm, they did 21 contracts, and they did 31 contracts, so they added 31 contracts to the synthetic position. All right. So we're going to hopefully move through the rest of these a little quicker here. So we have ARM with a short call, strike price of $141. Today we closed at 129.50, so we're about 9% away from that strike price. And they did end up adding additional contracts to the short call and synthetics today. You can see over on the right that we were up 2% from yesterday's close to today's close. And for the synthetic here, our strike price is 135. However, we are at 129.50. So if you look over here on the right and you had the market value here, if they had to close that out today, it would have cost them $32,000. So you can see why they would want the price to be above that strike price for the synthetic. Okay, if we move on to Chewy, we have two short calls. We have a $19 strike price, and we closed right below $18, and we're 6% away there. And then we have the $20 strike price short call, which we're 11% away from. And that $19 strike price was new, and you can see we were down 1% overall. And we're looking good on the synthetic, and we added to that today. So moving on to Clean Spark. Clean Spark has a new short call there of $17, and the stock closed at $16.49. So we were 51 cents or 3% away there, and you can see that we are down 2% today from yesterday. And unfortunately on this one, so they had this, you can see where they had those other two short calls, the $20 strike, which I forgot to mention. So we had the $20.50 strikes were 24% from it, and we had the $22 strike were 33% from it. But you can tell we were between like that $18 and $22 range, but now we've gone below our synthetic, and that's why they did the short call at $17 today, because the stock has dropped. But we still have our synthetic at $18, that strike price. We're $1.50 underneath that, or 9%. So if we had to close that out today, it would cost us about $45,000. All right, let's move on to coin. So this is our second time having coin in here. So with that said, somebody in the Discord, and I answered it earlier, were asking, what does, trading these regularly. And as you can see, these are being done daily. They could not have any trades for 3 days, and can have trades for a couple of days. But they'll close and open positions based on where they think they can earn that premium and income from. So they're not like, I think somebody asked example, like, is it weekly or monthly? And it can be daily. So it's actively managed, and they're constantly making these trades. So we have coin, and we have a strike price of $2.70. That's our new one for today. We have 6 contracts at that. We ended up closing at $2.56, which is 5% away from that strike price. We also have our $290 strike price, which is about 13% away. If we look, we're about 1% up from yesterday. As far as our synthetic price is $2.60 strike price, and they closed at the $2.56. So if they'd have closed today, it would have cost roughly $8,000 or $9,000, which is y'all know it's not a lot for coin. So it's not too bad. If we move on to Carvana, we have a new short call with a strike price of $80. And we closed at $76.28, so we're about 5% away from that. Looks like the stock itself was down about 2%. And our synthetic, we're above that, so we will move on. We have the GigaCloud Technology. We have two short calls there. Looks like those are existing. We did add to the $40 strike price and the synthetics today. So the first short call there, strike price at $35. If I remember correctly, that was just our new one. And we ended up closing at $36.84. So we're over that by 5%, or about roughly $2. You can look over here to the right, that stock went up 19% today. So yeah, that's why we ended up going over that strike price. Yeah, I didn't put the dollar amount on the right, but you can see we went up about $6 today. And then we have our $40 strike price. We're about 8.5% away from that one. So we go on to Groupon. We have one short call at the $20 strike price. It closed at $18.58 today. We're about 7.5% away from that. And Groupon was up 6% from yesterday's close. And you can see here that we did add contracts to the short call in synthetic. And just thinking about it, I know I've said it before. I say we. I'm not really referencing me. It's Yieldmax, but I do not work with Yieldmax or anything or work for them. I just say we as in general. If we go on to LabU, which is a biotech ETF, it has two short calls, a 148 strike with a close of 140.07 today, so we're about 5.5% away from that one, and that is a new short call today. And then we have one with a strike price of 161, which we're 15% away from, but we have a synthetic with a strike price of 165, and we are $25 below that. So in order to close, I don't have my pen here. In order to close that out, it cost us $127,000 today. And you can see that we're down 2% from yesterday's close for LabU. If we go on to Mara, we went over synthetic. So Mara, we have three short calls. We have a $22, a 20, which is a brand new one today. We have a $24.50, a $26. And then if you look over on the left, you can see we closed at $20.19 today. So we're 9%, 21, and about 29% away from those three strike prices. But then we have our synthetic with a strike price of 28, and we're at 2019, so we're 39% below our synthetic. So, and we added to that today. If we add these two together, it cost us roughly $180,000 to close those out. And then I don't recall if I mentioned it, but we were 2% down today for Mara. I don't know. I don't know what was going on with Bitcoin this week. I don't get to listen to my normal trading stuff while I'm working because I'm taking an Excel class all week, the rest of the week. So I'm missing out on hearing news and what's going on. So with that said, I know somebody had mentioned, I think it's this MNMD, but I could be wrong. But one of these have earnings. It's post-market on March 20th. So if y'all know of anything going on with these, feel free to put them in the comments, especially those that we get that are brand new. Because then it's like, well, what happened? And honestly, I just don't have the time to go research those. So if y'all know that stuff, if you could drop it in the comments for the rest of us and the rest of the viewers to see, that would be greatly appreciated. It would save a lot of research time if somebody already knows what's going on with that one specifically. So then we have this pharmaceutical company, and it has two short calls with strike price of $270, and we closed at $260, $267 today, so we're almost 3% from that one. And then it looks like we added to the short call with a $290 strike price there, and we're about 10% away from that one. And we're over our synthetics, so that looks good. And it looks like overall that stock was up 1%. And then this is the one Okay, Mind Medicine. So it was Mind Medicine. All right, so we have this was new this week, our Mind Medicine. And we have strike prices of $9 and $10, and the stock closed today at $7.86. So we're 14.5% and 27% away from those. However, we have a synthetic strike price of $9 as well, but we're 14.5% under that. So to close out this synthetic, it would be about $121,000. And it looks like this stock is down 6% today. It was at 8.34 at close yesterday. If we move on down to MicroStrategy, we have one short call with a strike price of 1,700. We're currently at 1,593, and we're about 7% away from the strike price. And then we're above our synthetic, and it looks like we're up 7% today compared to yesterday, and we did end up adding two, that short call and that synthetic for MicroStrategy. If we move on to Nano Imaging, we have one short call of $10. We closed at $9.60, so we are 40 cents below that. Our synthetic is also $10, so we are 40 cents below that one. For the synthetic itself, if we had to close that out today, it would be $59,000. This stock was actually up 2% today, and you can see that they added to the synthetic and the short call. So if we go to B. Riley, we have two short calls, $22.24 strike prices, and we closed at $20.10. So we're about 9.5% or 19.5% away from those, and we're above our synthetic. You can see that $22 strike price was new today, and this stock overall was down 3% from close yesterday. We can move on to Riot. It has strike price of $12.1350. We closed at $11.62, so we're roughly 3 and 16% away from those, with our synthetic strike price being $14, so we're 20% underneath that. So our synthetic would be $107,000 to close that. The stock overall was down 1% today. So then we have Root, which was like an insurance company or some type of insurance based on looking at the sector information. We have two strike prices here, 45 and 50. And we closed today at 43.71, so we're 3 and 14% away from those. And we are above our synthetic. You can see we added to our existing short calls and synthetics there. The overall stock was up 2% today. SMCI. Let's see, we have a short call with a strike price of $11.50, and we closed at $11.63 today, so we are over that by 1%. I didn't take any actions on those today, and this stock is up 8% from yesterday. And then this is the one I thought was the pharmaceutical. Yeah, Syndax Pharmaceuticals. I did try to look some of these up today. I think this one had something to do with some phase trials, and it had a large number of expected profit in the future on it. That was the only thing I saw, but I didn't get in depth into those. But I know this was one of our new ones this week. But here we have a $25 strike price with the stock price closing at $23.86, or about 5% away from that. Looks like we added to all of those positions, and we are up 1% today. And then we have SoundHound with the strike price of $6.50, and it made it almost to $7 today, so we are 6% over. And you can see over on the right, we're up 16% today. And it looks like we did not add anything to these positions. Okay. So I have gone over all of these. And now I just realized, though, I probably should have zoomed in more than I did, because I was supposed to start zooming in more. I do apologize for that. Y'all let me know if you still want me to continue to read through these like this. I know I'm actually skipping a lot on the trade side by only covering the close, and then we're covering basically the added, where we added shares or new ones over here. So y'all just let me know, because I don't want to read it if y'all don't care or want to hear it, right? We don't want to waste each other's time. So y'all just let me know, make sure this is still what you're wanting. And then I do want to go look at some summaries here. This was the one that we had created for our current holdings, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm sorry I didn't do that before. For those, we had just recently added the current IV, and then for the initial IV, we only have those that were new like this week, that was their IV, when they first showed up here. So it was copy and pasted on a data key. That way we could just sort of see where it was when we started, and then where we're at while it's still open here on our holdings. Because again, this is only the things that we are currently holding. And so let's look. The way we were doing this before, we were looking really at the rankings. But if we look at these IVs, if you haven't seen this before, you're having these IVs be like 79% to 176%. That B. Riley one there. But again, the same as yesterday, our bottom four in our tech sector are the best ones. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have MicroStrategy. Oh, that's right. I added all those trades from yesterday. It actually had some positive numbers yesterday. So you'll have on here, we did look at all this stuff yesterday, but yesterday, this is the holdings itself. But yeah, the trades will be on the last one, which is actually the one I used for our weekly. Sorry, I'm trying to think through this. We used for our weekly recap, but I think I have it updated today so you can see sort of where we were at earnings wise. But anyway, you can see here we had Giga Cloud market value is 92K. Oh, that's right, because these aren't trades. This is just the market value of what they currently hold. MicroStrategy is 270,000. SMCI 201,000. SoundHound 90,000. So that's our top four. And then our bottom ones, those bright red ones there, we have a negative 80K for nano imaging. What is 17? Riot is a negative 112K. And then we have the LabU Biotech ETF, negative 130K. And then Mara with 186K. That's negative. Sorry if I didn't say that. But again, these are the current holdings here. If we move over here, as requested, I had made this one, which shows the current holdings by the sector. So you can see here, of course, as we saw on the other side, our highest market value right now is 611,000 with tech, and then our lowest is financial services. I think it's been similar to that. Financial services and healthcare, those have been the biggest losers so far. And then we have, this is just our share count. Should we want to, our outstanding shares. Should we want to look at this later? But you can see, I know it didn't pace exactly right for today. We were up about 5 million there, 3 million, and then about another 3 million in assets. If we look at the outstanding shares, we were up about 225K, and they were about 200, and now we're up like another 125. So that's slowly trucking along. So here, what I did, so if you recall, I say here that we don't have any of the trades from February 29th. But what I did, and I think Mark does, Retire on Dividends does this as well, is taking the data on the initial holdings that we have. Since we didn't actually have those trades, I used the holdings as of dated March 1st because that has those trades from the 29th. And then I used those to just add that data on the trades, basically just swapping the signs. So if it was showing a market value of 120,000, then I'd put it on there for 120. It doesn't, the dollar amount when it's first open, right? It basically washes itself out, but it makes a difference when you're looking at short calls versus synthetic. If you're just looking at all, it wouldn't matter. But again, these are just estimates because we did not have the trades. And then what also don't include is like that first day when we first opened, they already have stocks and calls and stuff. So that stuff's not included either. But anyway, I know it still says except the 29th. We have something there. It's just not exactly what it was. So if you see here at the top, we have overall what I was talking about earlier. We had that 1 million and the 1.25. But if we're just looking at the short call, we're looking at about 40 cents. Again, we don't have the 100% of the trade data, but it's about 40 cents. Now, I will say that it's hard to really apply that here. Well, he was talking about Misty in his interview tonight, and saying that usually you can start as a base because especially when you haven't paid out the first distribution, but then you could use the IV as the base percentage. So like he was saying with Misty, he's not saying that, Misty, oh no, we don't have Misty on here. Oh, MicroStrategy, what am I saying? MicroStrategy's IV. So MicroStrategy 156. So that's like he's saying you could use that as a base. He's like, nah, he wasn't saying it was going to pay 156 annual dividend, but he says usually you can start there as a baseline. And so you can see up here a coin, it's about 95%. So that was just a little nugget that he threw out there today. Of course, with this, we own, there's not tons, there's about 20 or so, stocks or ETFs within here. So you don't really have an IV specifically for ULTY. My guess is, though, that it's been 9 days, right? If you're looking at 20 trading days a month, I know that's what Max says. I'll just use that because I haven't calculated it myself. 9 days, that's really half a month, even though they haven't been out. But it seems like a week and a half. I guess it'd be almost 2 weeks there. So I would expect them not to pay 40 cents. I expect them to pay more. I expect them to pay more to get interest in this one, right? It's a new ETF, and if they expect that it's going to, because it is a high IV stock rate, so you're expecting that the payout on this one would be a higher distribution. So I wouldn't be surprised if they paid out, $1 or whatever for just these 9 days to get that interest, and also based on the implied volatility of these. So we'll see. It might not be a full dollar. If I had to guess, I would say somewhere around $1. But we'll see in the morning, or you'll probably see in the morning before you ever even see this video. I know I get them out late, but it's either that or I have to wait till tomorrow morning to do them. I know that's what Retire on Dividends does, but yeah, I'm probably not getting up that early. And then if I do, I'd probably be rushing and mess stuff up on my videos and on all the spreadsheets and stuff. So I just prefer to do it at night and get it done as accurately as possible. But anyway, so that's sort of the summary up here at the top, and then I just wanted to relook at this since they were going to announce that distribution tomorrow. I know we went over it on the weekend, but we did have a lot of trades and that distribution announcement. But again, I don't think they're going to pay based on this, but I expect somewhere around $1. But we can see here, if we're looking over the right, our number one, or our top winners have been Coin with the 200K. And then B. Riley with 182K. That Mind Medicine 117K. A lot of these came from yesterday's trades because it's like deja vu reading these off. And then the pharmaceutical company down here with about 90K. So our worst ones are Soundhound with negative 18. The MSOS, which is the cannabis stock, it was negative 20. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot of huge negatives there. There's lots of winners. Of course, I know a lot of people were talking up front about these, and how these were performing, but they're brand new. They've barely even had, 1 week under their belts with one, short call expiration of last Friday. So they're still fairly new. I don't know, and I don't know that he said exactly why they decided to pay this distribution now versus waiting a month like all the rest of them. If I remember, I'll write down that question to ask him. But anyway, I hope all this was helpful. Again, let me know if you're wanting me to continue to go through the trades like I've been doing and the holdings. Hopefully we'll have about $1 tomorrow, somewhere around it, maybe 80 cents to $1 for the ULTY distribution. Obviously, I'm not going to put out an official video or anything, so this is it right here. But anyway, I hope y'all have enjoyed this and got something out of it, and it was, beneficial for you. And then can't wait till we get this declaration tomorrow and see how things look, see what they're planning for the future for it. But y'all have a good night, and now I'm going to work on the Yieldmax single named ETF and get that out as well. Bye.